Hello, Claudia. Hello, Palm Springs Point of View viewers.
Hey, Conrad, how are you doing? How
I'm
was your
doing
week?
just
How was your weekend?
things were, the desert is alive, right? The desert is alive. As we now come into this new yellow stage that all California is, which means we're almost back to normal. So very close.
Well, that's fantastic news. And speaking of yellow, it's the trees are all blooming. The Palo Verde is all yellow. There's yellow flowers everywhere, and
I agree.
yellow is the Pantone color of the year. So if we're in the yellow zone, it's we're all like right on target,
We're
right?
right on target, exactly. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be talking about today, because lots of things are happening. In a few moments, you're going to explain to me this new set that you're in, but we'll come back to that in just a few. We know that you did a tour or looked at the Agnes Pelton exhibit over at the Palm Springs Art Museum. So we'll be looking at that in a few moments. I had an opportunity to catch up with my friends over at the Palm Springs Dance Project. We'll talk about that also. And then you and Alan got before the print portrait camera this week, and we'll be talking about what that is. So there is a lot of things to talk about today. Okay, Claudia, I need to know what's going on with the new set there. Are you in studio somewhere? Are those real drums or virtual drums? What's happening?
Well, let's just see.
Oh, we have real drums.
We do.
What's happening?
For Palm Springs Piano Bar, our Wednesday night show, this will be our first guest musician on this amazing cocktail drum set. Isn't that beautiful?
That's going to be great. And do we get to know who the guest is, or is it going to be a surprise?
It's going to be a surprise on Wednesday night.
To all our viewers, you know about Piano Bar on Wednesday night. Claudia and Alan, of course, are in front of the piano singing and having good conversation. Now they're going to have a guest. I look forward to 7:15 on Wednesday, right?
And I'm feeling very Chi Club, so get ready.
I'm with you. Give me those Moroccans there. I'm ready to go with you.
Oh, they just happen to be right here. So Conrad, tell us about the PS Dance Project. I think you attended a meeting to just pre-dance performances. I know that you're involved with PS Dance Project, which is wonderful. Tell us about what's going on there.
Yes. So this, we haven't been together as with these volunteers and people who are associated with the Palm Springs Dance Project in over a year because of COVID. So the founder, Darcy Carosa, I believe how her last name is, wanted to get the group together just to tell everybody, we're all still here. How's everybody doing? Here's some events that are, the dance project is not happening yet because it's still not allowed to, although we just went into the yellow period, so or yellow zone. So maybe they will be able to have things soon. But she was just bringing us up to date on what's going on. During the COVID period, they did a little bit of a pivot and they've always done this, but they started giving out some grants and scholarships to a variety of the local dance studios that are in town. And this coming very soon, they will actually be handing out their first grant to one of the local kids who will, of course, be able to buy classes and uniforms and all that kind of good stuff. And so it's called Palm Springs Dance Project. There's 1, 2, or 3 different projects here in the Coachella Valley, because I don't know whether people know this or not, but dance is very big here in the desert. And this is one of those organizations that really focuses on the local schools and the local kids. So it's a great place. I'm very happy to be part of them. Okay, Claudia, I changed my background because you see these photos behind me. These are a variety of the different artists that used to be in the artist colony here in Cathedral City, where I live at. And one of those special artists is Agnes Pelton. And you went to see her exhibit at the Palm Springs Art Museum. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, well, actually, Agnes Pelton lived in Cat City and in a little adobe, which was not an adobe, a little cabin, which she also painted in this exhibit. But it was an interesting exhibit because he is most known as a modernist painter, turn of the century into the 20s, 30s, and she lived in Cat City until 1961. But modernist meaning like this exhibit is called Desert Transcendentalist. So Desert Transcendentalist, very spiritual painting. She was, they're very esoteric. They're very sort of meant to like open your mind and free the fire within. She was very into this particular type of yoga too. So she was pretty much ahead of her times, but she was kind of a contemporary of Georgia O'Keeffe, but she was just a little bit more out there. And that was what most of the exhibit focused on. And also she was a traditional landscape painter. And maybe that's how she kind of made her money. She was commissioned. So there are traditional paintings in a small section, but then you kind of go deep into these very sort of milky, and you see kind of meditative paintings. And it's a kind of thing that you're either very attracted to her work or you don't get it at all. And I'm attracted to her work a lot, but it's very soft. You almost kind of, I found when I took photos, you could see more deeply into what she was actually doing.
And I think you hit on a good point, and that is, I've seen her stuff. We ran into it at the Whitney in New York when we were there recently.
Yes, there were several
last time I was there.
From the Whitney.
And soft is a very good way to explain it. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. It's still beautiful art, and I love to see it. But let's take a look, because it is very interesting. Fact that Agnes Pelton is a Cathedral City resident and she has a showing at the museum, I think it's a terrific thing, and people should go out and take a look. She's a local celebrity, and she has an art exhibit, right? Beautiful.
Well, what was interesting was that the art museum did do a showing of her work in 1995, and they do have a number of pieces in their archives, but it's taken until 2021 to actually put this together. A lot of her paintings are spread all over the world, like the Whitney, for example.
Right.
But it was quite a comprehensive and large collection. And what was interesting, I wanted to just read one thing, was she settled in Cathedral City in 1932. She originally intended just to visit, but she got so enthralled with the desert that she stayed in Cat City for nearly 30 years. And she wrote, this is what she wrote about what she felt when she first came here, what she saw. The vibration of this light, the spaciousness of these skies enthralled me. I knew there was a spirit in nature, as in everything else, but here in the desert, it was an especially bright spirit. So yeah. I think it's something we feel when we're here, but as a painter, and especially back in the day then, when there were just a few settlers, can you imagine? And just imagine also here in Cathedral City where she lives at, and her home is still here. It used to be an open museum space. They're not doing that at the moment, but that home is still here. And there were a variety of folks who were artists in this area. And there used to be this artist walk here in Cathedral City where you could go from home to home and actually go into people's homes that did art and buy it and see it. You could actually go into the Agnes Pelton home. So it's a big thing, and it's right here in our city. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing, that the movement to move Maryland is still ongoing. And I attended they changed the date. It's now on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. at the Maryland Pedestal. And what happened this week was that there were talks and peaceful protesting and signs. A lot of people were talking and educating more. And then there was a procession. We all walked over to Starbucks and cars were going by and honking. So there was a little more presence known. So we'll see. And also to note, the park where she was supposed to be positioned is now heavily planted with a lot of palm trees. They just kind of plunked them in the last week. So we'll see what goes on there too.
Okay, Claudia, I know that you and I are very comfortable in front of the camera, but this week, I believe you were in front of a photography print camera. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Oh, yes. We are part of the PS Portrait Sessions, which is a name coined, and it's an ongoing project by photographer Owen Masterson and Christine Anthony, who are Anthony Masterson. They are amazing photographers. They shoot for Palm Springs Life. This is a project that will be sort of an ongoing, and they're portraits, and they're very serious portraits, very regal portraits, seeing different people, friends and neighbors, people of Palm Springs, in their own environment, like their home or their pool, but looking, very regal. So it's like, it's kind of a play on, it's a play on like a classic portrait, like family portrait. But, our whole living room was completely rearranged to get the best shot, the best composition. So
well, that sounds great. I've done some print work. I love doing print work. So I look forward to seeing yours. It's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, that's coming out soon. Obviously they're editing now and all of that, but we'll show you the final product.
All right. Sounds good. Have a great week. Talk to you later.
Okay.